Hare Krishna Maharaj, we can go live.
Okay, I'll do it. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Welcome to all the devotees for this exclusive question answer session. I already have some pending questions from the last Thursday. I will first answer those questions and then you can send in further questions through live chat and I'll try to answer as many as possible in the next 1 hour. Here's the first question for today. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Bharat Maharaj, when leaving his body, his mind was caught up in a baby deer and in next birth he got deer body. What about people who pass away accidentally or in coma? How does Lord uplift them? Please enlighten. The general principle is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram. Tam tamevaiti kaunteya sadatad bhava bhavitaha. Exactly the consciousness at a time of death is the basis for getting the next body. So what happens to a person who is in coma? Now, coma means external consciousness is withdrawn. External consciousness withdrawn, but internally the person is very much active. Only thing, the person is not able to express through the external senses, not able to speak, not able to hear, not able to smell, etc. But inside the soul is eternal, and soul is inside the body. Okay, the physical body, whatever is happening, that the soul is not aware. That means the person in coma is not aware of his or her external body, but the mind, intelligence, false ego, they are always active. They always work. Whether one is sleeping, whether one is in a coma state, whether one is in wakeful state, whether one is absorbed in this activity, that activity, doesn't matter. These three are always working. So the person is alive, the person is active in the mind, intelligence, false ego. So whatever their consciousness, whatever they're thinking about, same thing about somebody dying in an accident, same thing. The person's mind, intelligence and ego is always active. So that decides the next body. And what is the kind of consciousness or the mentality which will be there at the time of death? That depends on what type of activities throughout the life one person has done. That is very important. If somebody has practiced Krishna consciousness throughout their life, then at the time of death, their mentality will be spiritual mentality, Krishna conscious mentality. Somebody has been working, let us say, on some research subject dealing with some animal. They study ants and they completely get involved. Ant. So next body they will get ant's body, because that's how they've absorbed their mind for many years, and they're very much deep into that. So it is very important how we cultivate our thinking and what we predominantly think about, or what we are involved with. So become involved with Krishna consciousness, then your mentality will be Krishna consciousness, and you will be promoted to a much better situation. If you're not fully ready to go back to Godhead. If you're fully ready to go back to Godhead, then you will go back to Godhead. Never again take birth. But if you're not yet ready, Krishna gives you another opportunity in a nice situation to continue your Krishna consciousness from wherever you left off. That is the protection of the Lord for devotees. Next question. How is it possible to remember Krishna while studying? As Krishna says, always think of me. If we always remember Krishna, how will we remember what we read? As a student, I should read, but sometimes, there are so many parts to this question. Let me take one part of the question at one time, answer that, and go to the next part. So the first part of the question is, how to remember Krishna while studying? Because Krishna says, always think of me. So in that very verse, where Krishna says, always think of me, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu ma manusmara yudhyacha. What does Krishna say? Sarveshu kaleshu, always, all the time. Ma manusmara, think of me or remember me. Yudhyacha means, and simultaneously do your duty. For Arjuna is telling you should fight. But that is not an instruction for everyone to fight. It is for everyone to do your prescribed duty, your specific duty. So as a student, your duty is to study and write the exam and learn whatever is supposed to be learned. So that you have to do while remembering Krishna also. So how is that done? So the remembering Krishna always means being in Krishna consciousness. The background consciousness with which we do any activity should be, the background consciousness should be Krishna consciousness. It is just like if you chant every day certain number of times Hare Krishna, while chanting you only engage in chanting, hearing and counting Hare Krishna mantra. That is, let's say, for 10 minutes or half an hour, whatever time you fix, whatever number of rounds you're chanting. But rest of the day, that effect of having chanted, that consciousness, background consciousness will be Krishna consciousness. Because after that, every activity you do, you should do with the consciousness that I'm doing this as a service to Krishna. I'm offering the results of this activity to Krishna. I'm sacrificing the results of this activity for Krishna. So if somebody is a student and is learning some subject, how can I use what I have learned in Krishna's service? That's what you should be thinking. So in general, you don't have to worry about every subject. In general, this learning, at least in the normal course of our school and college education, we are learning so that we get some job later on, or we do some specific work. So that work, whatever we do, the result of that work, we have to offer a portion of that result to Krishna, which is earning some money. So offer that to Krishna. Or while learning, your consciousness should be, I am learning this so that I can use this knowledge for earning some money, and that money I will sacrifice some portion for Krishna, like that. Or if that talent somebody acquires a talent, let's say in playing some musical instrument, or somebody acquires a talent in nice painting, then later on you can paint Krishna's pictures. Or somebody is acquiring a talent in learning some musical instrument. They can play that musical instrument and sing and accompany for singing Krishna bhajans. Like that. So, different learnings can be used in different ways for service of Krishna. But ultimately, any learning can be used in Krishna's service by using that learning for earning money or getting some benefit and sacrificing a portion of that benefit to Krishna. Like that. Then, if I always remember Krishna, how will we remember what we read? Remembering Krishna means being in Krishna consciousness. Remembering Krishna is not like remembering what we read. No, it's not like that. That kind of remembrance is not remembering Krishna. Remembering Krishna means being in Krishna consciousness. Just like while somebody's doing some cooking, let us say, they are told, be alert while you're cooking, not to burn what you are keeping on the stove. But that doesn't mean that when you're alert not to burn what you're cooking on the stove, it doesn't mean you are not conscious of what to put, how much time to cook. Simultaneously, you'll be alert and you'll also be doing what is required to be done. So like that. So that alertness in cooking is something like always being Krishna conscious. Always being Krishna conscious. Like that. Sometimes in spite of reading, I don't understand, no one to help. Now, if you don't understand, there could be several reasons why you don't understand when you read. One of the reasons could be that when that subject is taught in the class, then you are not giving attention to the teacher. Your mind is somewhere else. You're maybe physically sitting in a class and your mind is somewhere else. Or you don't attend the class, so you don't hear what the teacher says. So hearing is very important for learning, for understanding, for remembering. Hearing is very important. In spiritual life also, the spiritual life begins with hearing. Hearing about Krishna, hearing Krishna's name, hearing Krishna's pastimes, hearing Krishna's instructions in the Bhagavad Gita. Hearing. Hearing is the basis of our very spiritual life. Hearing is also the way to nicely remember what you have heard from the teacher who's teaching. Teacher generally speaks. Or teacher makes a presentation where there'll be some explanation. So you should hear that. Hear it also with attention. Hear it with attention. Don't let your mind wander. Yeah. Don't do something else while teacher is explaining. You should give full attention to what teacher is explaining. That is one thing. Second thing, while actually sitting and reading also, the mind has to be focused, attention has to be focused on the what is being read, the contents of the book. So this attention is very, very important. It has to be cultivated, giving attention to one thing at a time while you're doing something. Not many things, no. Sometimes I don't like reading. This liking and disliking is actually a trick of the mind. What is the experience of somebody? They say, I like something. It is basically what is pleasing to their sense gratification. They'll say, I like that. What is not pleasing to the sense gratification, they say, I don't like. So don't go by what you like or what you don't like. That is simply based on sense gratification. And the sense gratification is poison, actually. It is poison. It's called Visha. So you have to, at least while doing certain responsible duty, you should give up this business of sense gratification. That means you don't do something because you like it, or you don't avoid doing something because you don't like it. No, that is not correct. So whether you like to read or don't like to read, it is your duty as a student to study, to read. So you must read. You must read. So somebody may say, how can I read if I don't feel like reading? Hell with whether you feel like reading or don't reading. Take the book and keep your finger, and every word, keep moving the finger and loudly read. Not in the mind, loudly read. And keep hearing what you read. And then you'll see all this. I don't like to read. I don't feel like reading. I don't have the mood for studying. All this nonsense will vanish. It will just go away. You have to persevere. Any activity you take up, you have to persevere. Then the mind will simply follow. If you are determined, if you make up your determination, I must do this and I must do it properly, nicely, then with determination, you can conquer this mind. Keep on listening to spiritual subjects. What to do? Keep on listening means whenever you don't feel like reading, simply listening. No, that is not correct. There has to be a discipline, a regulation. Student means regulated life. Not only student, anybody who's a serious person in life wants to do something properly, then there has to be regulation. Regulation means morning I get up, I brush my teeth, I wash my face, I take bath, I offer prayers or I chant Hare Krishna, then I take breakfast. There has to be a regulation what you do when. You don't do whatever you like whenever you like to do. No, that is not the way. That's not the proper way of living for a civilized human being, for an aspiring devotee. That's not the way to live. Regulation. As soon as you regulate, means you do definite things at definite time, proper time. Then immediately your mind will come under control. Regulation is the way to control. Just like now, I am supposed to conduct this exclusive question and answer session from 7:30 to 8:30. So 7:30 to 8:30, I'll only do this. I'll not do anything else. I'll completely stop all other activities. Like that. So now I'm supposed to read the question, understand it, give an answer based on whatever I have read, I have studied in Prabhupada's books, exactly what I am doing. So like that, every activity should be regulated, should be done with definite, like school going students. You have got school timetable. You got a school timetable. And you have got definite subjects, and you got definite books, and you got a definite schedule, test or examination. So everything is possible to be regulated because that's the way things work in this world. Nothing should be unregulated. Not I like to do, I'll do. I don't like to do, I don't. Mood. I feel like doing, I'll do it. No, that is not correct. So spiritual subjects also, you should have some time, particular time when you listen or read. Specific time should be there. You should divide the time properly. Next question. Please throw some light on different Vaikuntha planets and how Lord is served in each planet. There is no detailed description about all these different planets. There is one specific chapter in the Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 15th chapter, a description of Vaikuntha Loka. There's a chapter like that, 15th chapter of the 3rd canto Bhagavatam. You read that chapter, in that there is a specific description about what is the atmosphere like, what are the inhabitants like, what are their activities. In general, I may say that Vaikuntha planets are eternal places. There is no death, there is no disease. Everyone is situated in the spiritual body, and they are all devotees of the Supreme Lord, who is the supreme controller, supreme master of everyone. And everything is provided for. Nobody has to work to earn money or to get some facility. All facilities are provided by Yogamaya, and everyone has got a very, very, very beautiful form. And they are always engaged in glorifying the Supreme Lord. They have different activities, varieties of activities. But all those activities are aimed at pleasing Krishna or pleasing Narayana. In Vaikuntha planet, it is pleasing Narayana. In Krishna Loka, Goloka Vrindavana, it is pleasing Krishna. So Krishna is the supreme person, the same person, whether he is present as Narayana, or he is present as Rama, or he is present as Narsimha, or he is present as Vamana, whichever form he is present. Whichever expansion of the Lord, whichever incarnation, he is always with his devotees. Devotees are engaged in different varieties of services. So you read this, and each devotee is engaged in a specific service based on the relationship with the Lord. So it's a very elaborate subject, this whole devotional service and the relationship and the type of activity. And Lord has got varieties of activities. It is something like a person in this world who's in a very responsible position, has got his family, has got his work, has got his friends, has got his society, has got different roles, has got different relationships, has got different mood, has got different types of dress. Like that, the Lord also. Of course, in this world, people are limited, so they cannot have too many relationships, they cannot relate with everybody. But the Lord is unlimited person, supreme person, so he relates with every devotee. Everyone is a devotee in the spiritual world. So everyone he relates. And their relationship will be rendering some particular service to the Lord. And they are situated properly to render that service. So that's a very elaborate subject, and you have to read that particular chapter to get an idea what it is like in the spiritual. Next question. Kindly enlighten me as to the name of the serpent on which Lord Garbhodakashayi Vishnu is lying. Is it Anantadeva or Vasuki? Okay, there are two descriptions in the Bhagavad Gita. In the 11th chapter, 15th verse, Arjuna is describing what he saw in the universal form, which Krishna showed Arjuna on Arjuna's request. Arjuna is seeing so many things in that universal form. He is telling Krishna, my dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled together in your body all the demigods. There's so many devatas, demigods. So Arjuna is seeing all the demigods and various other living entities. Demigods are not the only kind of creatures in this universe. In each planet, there are different kinds of creatures. On the Earth planet, for example, there are humans, there are animals, there are birds, there are insects, there are reptiles, there are aquatics, there are plants, there are trees, there are germs, there are worms. So many varieties. Upper planets, there are devatas, there are kinnaras, there are kinpurushas, there are gandharvas, there are yakshas, there are rakshasas, there are asuras, so many varieties of persons. So like that, there are different varieties of other living beings also apart from the devatas. Then Arjuna is telling, I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower. Brahma was born on a lotus flower and he sits on that lotus flower. That's his asana. It's also called Kamalasana. And here also Brahma is referred to Kamalasanastham. And Shiva, Lord Shiva, as well as many sages and divine serpents. So Srila Prabhupada explained divine serpents means there are many serpents in one Nagaloka, and even Garbhodakashayi Vishnu at the bottom of the universe, he is lying on one serpent bed called Vasuki. The description here is Garbhodakashayi Vishnu is lying on a serpent bed called Vasuki. But Prabhupada also says there are other snakes also known as Vasuki. So Vasuki is one name for the serpent on bed on which Garbhodakashayi Vishnu is lying down. Also, in other places it is described, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu lies on Sheshanag. Sheshanag. That is also described in the serpent bed. Another place it is said, Ananta Shayana, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu is called Ananta Shayana. He is lying down on Ananta. So Ananta Deva is also described as the serpent bed on which Garbhodakashayi Vishnu is lying down. So all the three are described. Ananta Shayana, then Sheshanaga and Vasuki. All three are described in different places. Next question. Shraddha is done for the departed soul for many years, but the soul would have entered another body. How does the Shraddha help the previous body or soul? Okay. Understand what is Shraddha first properly. Shraddha means it is the duty of the son or the descendant of a particular ancestor or father or mother to actually offer the Shraddha ceremony to the departed soul after the departure of the person from this world. Let's say I have a father. And my father becomes old and he passes away. Then after he passes away, I have to do Shraddha as my duty towards him, because I have taken so many benefits from him, my father. I have received so much of service from him in so many ways. I have inherited so many things from him. So it is my duty to offer Shraddha. What is this offering Shraddha? It is, in essence, offering Vishnu Prasad to the departed soul. How is it done? There is a system. How that Vishnu Prasadam will be offered to the departed soul through one ceremony that is performed, one ritual that is performed. That is one way. Another way is if one is not conversant with the ritual or is not able to perform that ritual due to whatever difficulties or reasons, then one can just offer devotional service to Krishna and pray to Krishna to bless that departed soul. Pray to Krishna to bless the departed soul by performing some specific devotional service, like chanting Hare Krishna mantra, hearing Bhagavatam, or reading the Bhagavatam, or offering prayers to Krishna, offering the prayers to the spiritual master, worshipping Krishna through Archana, or any of these devotional services can be performed in place of the religious ritual called Shraddha, and pray to Krishna at the end of that devotional service being done. Pray to Krishna to bless the particular departed soul. Now, the benefit for the person who is doing the Shraddha or doing this devotional service and praying is that you are doing your duty, you become freed from the obligation or the debt. Rina, it's called Rina in Sanskrit. You are taken service, so you have to liquidate the Rina by performing Shraddha or by offering devotional service to Krishna. And for the departed soul, what is the benefit? The departed soul gets Vishnu Prasad or blessings of Vishnu, mercy of Vishnu, by which the departed soul will either be able to be elevated to higher status. Supposing the departed soul is not having a proper gross body due to that soul's previous sinful activity, is in a ghostly state, then immediately when this Vishnu Prasad is offered by the son or the descendant, then immediately the particular suffering soul is released from the ghostly condition and is given a proper body, a proper birth in a proper body, physical body, immediately. So that is the benefit. Or somebody is situated in let's say normal human being, then that human being will be elevated to the heavenly planets. Or somebody is already in heavenly planet, will be promoted to the next higher planet, Maharloka. Or somebody is engaged in devotional service, they'll make rapid advancement and very quickly go back to Godhead. So like that. So the blessings of Vishnu or the prasadam of Vishnu, which is offered to the departed soul, is always beneficial for the departed soul. Always beneficial. So how does it help the previous body? Body is not important. The soul is important. For the soul, there is relief from some suffering, if they were suffering, when the Shraddha was offered. If they are not suffering, then they are elevated to higher status. And they are already devotee, then they will be pleased and they will give their blessings for the one who is offering Shraddha, that may you advance in Krishna consciousness. Like that. So like this, the benefit has to be understood from both sides. Next question. Kindly explain the sequence of events when Lord Garbhodakshaya Vishnu enters the universe. When Lord Garbhodakshaya Vishnu enters the universe is simply one tiny seed-like form. It is very, very small. So when Garbhodakshaya Vishnu enters, first of all, the universe begins to develop, is to expand, become big. And it becomes like the big universe. full of so many planets now. But before it got populated with the planets, it became a huge empty empty shell. And into that, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu enters after it becomes very big. He's already inside. So he half fills the shell, universal shell, with water. That water is his own perspiration. It's called Garbha Udaka. And he lies down after it's half filled with his own water, spiritual water. Then he lies down on that, on a serpent bed called Vasuki or Anantasesha or Sheshnag. And then he gives birth to Brahma. One lotus flower comes out of his navel, and on that lotus flower, Brahma is born. So Brahma does not take birth exactly like any of us take birth. For we to take birth, father and mother, they combine, and then the soul is given shelter in the womb of the mother through the father. And then the body develops in the mother's womb, and we come out as a child or whatever. But that is not the way Brahma is born. Brahma is not born like that. Brahma is born as the son of Vishnu. Now Vishnu does not take help of Lakshmi. Vishnu himself creates Brahma, means awards the body to Brahma. Brahma as a living being is eternal soul. But Brahma, to get the body of Brahma and the position of Brahma, he has to get a suitable body. That body is awarded by Vishnu, without any need for Vishnu to conceive Brahma the way a father would conceive a child. No, not like that. This is completely spiritual process. Simply Vishnu, by his desire, that desire is acted upon by his Vishnu's spiritual energies, and immediately there is a lotus that is coming out of the navel, and Brahma is born. After Brahma is born, then Garbhodakshaya Vishnu expands as, first of all, when Brahma is born, Brahma is given the knowledge by Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Brahma is given the skill for further creation to be done by Brahma. And Brahma is given the knowledge. Brahma is given the ingredients for the creation. Like that, Brahma creates. But when Brahma has to begin creation also, for Brahma creates the different living beings, gives them the bodies. But for their place of residence, the planets have to be created. So the planets are created by another form of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu called universal form. It is a real form of the Lord, universal form, because it is the form of the Lord who creates the planets. And all the facilities on the various planets, which will become the place of residence for the different living beings, different grades of living beings. So like that, the universal form or Virat Rupa, Vishwarupa, Supreme Lord, he is another form of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu only. He is present as Virat Rupa in this universe, but we cannot see him unless he gives darshan. It's like Krishna gave darshan of the Virat Rupa or Vishwarupa to Arjuna. So that is only possible when Lord gives darshan. Otherwise, he is there, present, and he creates the planets. And after the planets are created, then Brahma creates the different living entities. And they are given the place of residence on the different planets. So this is roughly the sequence of the events that happen after Lord Garbhuriksha enters the universe. Next question. Upon whose karmic account it will come when a housewife gives temple donation without asking her husband, as he won't allow her to give donation? Now, giving donation in a temple is a spiritual activity. There is no karmic reaction. There's no karmic reaction. So there's no question of whose karmic account it will come. No, there's no karmic account. Spiritual activities don't have any karmic reaction. So the question doesn't arise. But what happens as regards the wife spending some money in which spending some money in some way which her husband won't allow, or if he comes to know, what will be his reaction? What about that? So that is a completely material event or material happening that the wife has to deal with if her husband comes to know, or the husband will investigate and find out to some other source, whatever. Those are all material actions and reactions, and they will go on parallelly. Whenever we do spiritual activity, till we are liberated, our spiritual activities will have a corresponding material action and reaction. Always there will be some material action and reaction as regards the material part of the activity. For example, if I am eating prasadam, the prasadam will work in giving me spiritual benefit. But if that prasadam is a specific item, a edible item, just that, let's say I take some kara pongal, which is offered to Krishna and it is given to me as prasadam. Okay, I have taken the kara pongal prasadam. The prasadam, what is that? That spiritual effect of that taking prasadam, I'll get spiritual benefit and make spiritual advancement. Yes. But what about the kara pongal itself? If that is not easy for me to digest, then I will have indigestion. I may have indigestion. Then I become sick. Then I may have vomiting, I may have loose motion, I may have stomach pain. Then I have to get that treated. Now that is not exempted because I have taken kara pongal as prasad. That is not exempted. Therefore, when we do devotional service, we should be careful to do such service which will not be on the material platform counted as a sin. Counted as a sin. Just like I want to give some donation to some temple. I should give some, let's say some money I want to give. I should give money which I have properly earned or properly acquired in a pious way. Not that I do some sinful activity, I do some stealing, chori, and then what are I doing with that money? Oh, I am giving it to temple. I am giving donation to the Supreme Lord Krishna temple. No, that is not acceptable. That is not acceptable. Of course, the donation you get spiritual benefit, no doubt about it. But for the stealing portion, you will have to face the consequences. You'll have to face the consequences of having stolen that. So therefore, don't do like that. Don't do a sinful activity and justify that it's okay to do sin because I'm after all going to use the result of the sinful activity for devotional service. No, it's not correct. That's why devotional service should always be done according to the scriptural direction. How to do devotional service? It is described in scriptures. Nowhere in the scriptures it is said you should give donation to Krishna or to the temple by stealing money. Nowhere it is said like that. Nowhere it is said. Honestly earned wealth should be a portion of that, or the entire thing. If you can give, you give it to Krishna. That is proper way of donating to a temple or giving to Krishna. Next question. What is the difference between in-person physical association and online in-person association through YouTube or Google Meet? Are they both equally effective? Actually, on the spiritual platform, there is no difference. On the spiritual platform, there is no difference. Because spiritual life itself is not dependent on physical association or physical contact. Just like Prabhupada, even when he was present on this planet, he was physically present here in this world. But he would not always be physically available for all the devotees all over the world. So there are disciples, let's say in America, and they are in a temple and they are doing some service, they are chanting, they are doing some book distribution. But Prabhupada is in Vrindavan. So, but still, by worshipping Prabhupada through his picture or through his murti, they are getting his spiritual blessings. They are associating with him spiritually. When they hear his voice, when they read the letter he has written and sent, they are associating with Prabhupada. When they read the book he has written, they are associating with Prabhupada. When they watch some video recording of Prabhupada's discourse, they are associating with Prabhupada. So spiritual association does not depend on whether the physical association is available or not available. Of course, physical association is definitely very nice and very good. Definitely it is good. But in the absence of physical association, other types of association, like online association, association through video, association through audio soundtrack, association through books written by Prabhupada, association through letters, reading the letters, all these type of association are equally potent, effective, they work, they are equally powerful. Next question. Sometimes poppy seeds are used for making Bengali vegetarian dishes, also as aloo posta. Kindly tell us whether the use of poppy seeds makes this dish tamasic. No, poppy seeds don't make this dish tamasic. Poppy seeds, when they are used to prepare some kind of intoxicating drug, then that is tamasic. But poppy seeds used the way it is recommended to be used in certain specific vegetable dishes or something like that. That is not tamasic. It is sattvic when it is prepared, and when it is offered to Krishna, it becomes transcendent. Next question. What is the meaning of the word Jagat Guru? Who is actually qualified for it? Jagat Guru means the spiritual master of the entire world. Now, Prabhupada is Jagat Guru because he's preaching throughout the world. Of course, Prabhupada did travel throughout the world. But somebody who is not necessarily traveling but is sitting in one place and chanting Hare Krishna, just like there was a spiritual master, previous Acharya. His name was Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj. He is Prabhupada's guru's guru, 3 generations back. So he would sit in one place and chant Hare Krishna. His chanting is meant for the welfare of the entire world. His chanting purifies the contaminated atmosphere of the whole world. We cannot imitate that. We cannot understand it using our ordinary logic, how it works. It is a spiritual potency, spiritual effect. So such pure devotees, acharyas are also Jagadguru. Because whatever they do, it has an effect on the whole world. If they bless all the living beings in the entire world, then all the living beings are getting spiritual benefit. Without their knowing about it, without their asking for it, without their being conscious to receive it, they are getting spiritual benefit. So that is the significance of Jagadguru. And whatever a Jagadguru teaches is universal. His instructions are not meant for few people, few kind of people, few followers. No. It is meant for everyone in the entire world. At least every human being. At least every human being. So who is qualified to get this title Jagadguru? One who's in that position, one who's preaching to the whole world, one who is working for the welfare of the entire world, entire human society, in the entire world. Such people are qualified to get it. Not somebody who is sectarian or who is limiting to some particular community or only blessing his disciples or his followers. No, not like that. Not such people. Next question. What happened to Shishupala after merging into the body of Krishna? Where did his individuality go? Now, merging into the body of Krishna, nobody loses individuality. Even Shishupala did not lose individuality. Shishupala is actually one of the doorkeepers of the Supreme Lord in Vaikuntha. So he was sent to this material world to take birth as Hiranyakashipu and then Ravana and then Shishupala, like that. So that was the doorkeeper of the heavenly planet, who is a pure devotee and who is one of the associates of the Lord. He is participating in the Lord's Leela. So in participating in the Lord's Leela, he acted in such a way as if he was against the Lord. He acted in that way. But actually his identity is not that he's a demon. No, he's not a demon. So Krishna absorbed him in his body, and afterwards he was promoted to the particular planet, Vaikuntha planet, where he actually eternally resides and serves the Supreme Lord. That way. So where did Shishupala go? He went back to the Vaikuntha planet from where he had come. Next question. How often does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu come into this material world? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes to this material world once in a day of Brahma. Exactly like Krishna comes to this material world once in a day of Brahma. What is the meaning of once in a day of Brahma? Day of Brahma consists of 1,000 cycles of the 4 yugas, 14 manvantaras. Each manvantara has 71 cycles of the 4 yugas. So Krishna comes in the 7th manvantara, middle of that day of Brahma, this day of Brahma. And in the 7th manvantara, the 28th Dwapar Yuga, in the cycle of 71 Dwapar Yugas, in the 7th manvantara. He comes in the 28th Dwapar Yuga. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes once in a day of Brahma in the 7th Manvantara, the 28th Kali Yuga, in the cycle of 71 Kali Yugas of the 7th Manvantara, like that. Once in a day of Brahma. Next question. There are wrong accusations on my father by his brother related to the property of my grandfather. My father is saddened by that. How to overcome it? For all problems, one universal solution is to chant Hare Krishna and to pray to Krishna to overcome the problem. Krishna will give intelligence, and Krishna will give help through his instruments. Krishna will help to overcome the problem. And Krishna will give direction through intelligence or through some other well-wisher. Krishna will give direction. How to solve the problem. So the solution is to chant Hare Krishna and pray to Krishna. That kindly help me overcome the problem. That's the best solution I can give. Next question. Sometimes the whole day is engaged in Krishna consciousness, but at the end of the day it is noticed Maya attacks and we fall victim. How to overcome it? It is unlikely that somebody who is engaged whole day in Krishna consciousness will be attacked by Maya at the end of the day. Not possible. It is possible provided somebody after engaging the whole day, at the end of the day, doesn't want to engage in Krishna conscious activity but wants to relax and engage in sense gratification. Then Maya attacks. So don't engage in any sense gratification. Don't engage, don't stop Krishna conscious activities. Varieties of activities are there in different times of the day, in different states of fatigue or something. You can do in different types of Krishna conscious activities. Supposing you are sitting because you are tired, don't simply sit. You, while sitting also, when you are relaxing, also Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Either hearing some lecture of Prabhupada, or singing some kirtan, or chanting Hare Krishna japa, or reading some book, or remembering some pastime you would have read of Krishna before, just sitting and recollecting that pastime in the mind. Some Krishna conscious activity must always be there. Even when you're lying on bed to go to sleep at night, supposing immediately you don't get sleep. So does it mean you don't do anything? No. Even while you're lying on the bed and you don't get immediate sleep, keep chanting Hare Krishna very softly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram. Till you get sleep, you keep on chanting softly. So there is no time for Maya to attack. There's no chance for Maya to attack. There's no chance. if you're always engaged. Next question, is Kala a living entity? No, Kala is not a living entity. Kala is another form of Paramatma. Kala is another form of Paramatma. It's impersonal. Impersonal feature, Kala. Kala forces everybody to experience their sukha and dukkha according to their karma, past karma in a particular body. So Kala is actually working in this material world, and we are subject to the stringent imposition by Kala. Just like at different times we go through sukha dukkha in this world while we are living in this body. Everybody goes through, all living beings go through. So that is due to Kala, effect of Kala. Kala decides when I am going to get the resultant reaction of a particular action I've done in the past. Next question. What if the deceased person does not have a son? Who can do the Shraddha? Now, the deceased person, irrespective of whether the Shraddha is performed or not, their own spiritual activities will actually benefit them. Their own spiritual activities will benefit them. This benefit they may get by somebody performing Shraddha is actually an additional benefit. The most important benefit a person can expect is from his or her own devotional activities. And to answer the question, if they don't have a son, who else can do the Shraddha? Any other relative who is a male member can do the Shraddha. Because a relative means somebody who has taken some service in any way. If they do the Shraddha, then they become, they're able to give benefit, one thing. And second thing is they are able to also become free from the debt because they've taken service. So like that, any other male member who is a relative and who has taken some service, any type of service, can do. I'll stop here. It's already 8:30. I'll answer the remaining questions in the next session. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.